This lesson is going to be all about how a piano works. So if you played piano, you kind of know how a keyboard works, you really don't need this lesson. But if you're a wind player or maybe a singer and you don't have any piano experience, understanding how a keyboard works is going to help you a lot with understanding notes, how sharps and flats work, and it's going to be a huge help. So if you know what you're doing on a piano, you can skip this. If not, it's a really valuable lesson. Let's get to it. So when we learn a keyboard, the first note we usually learn is C. And you can find that by finding the two black notes and going to the white one in front. So always start with C. And then it's just the alphabet. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C again. So every time you see the two black notes and then the white one in front, these are all going to be C's. Okay? And so that's just how the note names work. Now, what's important are how all these black notes work, okay? And when we go note by note, we call those half steps. Right now, I am moving by half steps. I'm going up half steps. Now I'm gonna go down by half step. So we're gonna talk a lot about whole steps and half steps. That's all they mean. Now, if you take two half steps, I go up a half step, go up another half step, that's a whole step. So from C to D, that's a whole step. Okay, now how we name the black notes. If we go up, we call it sharp. So if this is a C, up a half step is C sharp. D, D sharp. Here's E and here's F. So what's this guy called? F sharp. G sharp. A sharp. Now, if we go down, we call them flat. So this right here is a B. So if I go to the one a half step below B, it is B flat. So if you notice A sharp and B flat, this is the same note. So if you can call a note by two different names, we call those enharmonic. So an A sharp is an enharmonic note to B flat, meaning they're spelled differently, they look different on the staff, and we call them different things, but it's essentially the exact same note. Okay, same with A flat, G flat, E flat, D flat. Okay, so a C sharp is the same as a D flat. Okay, D sharp, E flat, F sharp, G flat, A sharp, G sharp, A flat, and A sharp, B flat. So now you may be thinking, okay, well, what about there's nothing in between the E and the F. There's also nothing in between the B and the C. That's why you should really learn a keyboard part. If you're not a keyboard player, when you move up by half steps, this is the part that usually confuses people. No, there's not a black note in between, but remember, the definition of sharp is up a half step. The definition of flat is down a half step. So B, up a half step, is B sharp. So yes, he's called C, but he's also called a B sharp, okay? So a B sharp and a C natural are enharmonic notes. Same thing with this, C flat. If you see a C flat, that's enharmonic to a B natural. Same thing with the E and the F. E sharp is the same as F natural, and an F flat would be the same as an E natural. Okay? You also have things called double sharps and double flats. We can worry about those when they pop up later, but just using your intuition, if this is a C sharp, a double sharp would just go up again. So a C double sharp would be the same as a D natural, and a B double flat, well, there's a B flat, just go down another, and you're at A natural. So a B double flat would be the same as an A natural, okay? Again, when you're doing the music, you're gonna say, oh, a G to an A, that's gonna be a whole step. F to G, oh, that's a whole step. D to E, that's a whole step. But then you're gonna see a B to a C, and your brain, if you're not used to piano, you're gonna think that's a whole step. It's not, okay? To get a whole step above B, there's a half step, there's a whole step. So a whole step above B is a C sharp. Same thing with an E. A whole step above E is not F, it's F sharp. So that's the only tricky part if you're not used to using sharps and flats, okay? So there's a basic of how a piano keyboard works, and that's how half steps and whole steps work. I hope that helped you.